What if I told you that the most heroic moment in the history of American freedom started with a bunch of school kids being expelled for refusing to perform a Nazi salute? And what if I told you that the Nazi salute they refused to do was actually the American flag salute? Yeah, seriously, we're going to get there, but first I have a question. Why does your physical body want to punch me in the face if I disagree with your politics? Like, literally, why does hearing a different opinion trigger the same part of your brain as seeing a bear in the woods? In this video, we are going to completely flip everything you think you know about the First Amendment. We're digging into the neuroscience of why your brain naturally hates free speech. We'll debunk the biggest lie you've ever been told about shouting fire in a crowded theater. And we'll uncover the messy, violent, and kinda hilarious history of how we actually got our rights. It involves a spitting congressman, an F-bomb jacket, and a Supreme Court justice who essentially said, "My bad." Stick around, because the fixed star of our liberty isn't what you think it is. It's actually the right to be completely wrong. Okay, let's start at the end, or rather, the moment nearly everyone got it wrong. Picture 1940. We are on the brink of war with Hitler. Patriotism is off the charts. And in Pennsylvania, two kids, Lillian and William Gobetis, get kicked out of school. The town turns on them. People are literally throwing rocks. Why? Because they wouldn't salute the flag. But here's the kicker. The salute they refused? It was called the Bellamy salute. You stuck your right arm straight out, palm up. It looked exactly like the Heil Hitler salute. So you had American patriots beating up kids for not looking like Nazis. History is ironic like that. To understand why that happened, we have to look inside your skull. See, we like to think the marketplace of ideas is this cool, logical place where we debate facts. Wrong. Neuroscience tells us that when you hear an opinion that challenges your core beliefs, your amygdala, that lizard brain part that detects threats, lights up like a Christmas tree. It floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. Your brain doesn't see a bad argument, it sees a physical threat to your survival. Evolutionarily, this makes total sense. For thousands of years, if you got kicked out of the tribe, you died. So maintaining tribal cohesion was a survival imperative. We evolved a mechanism called altruistic punishment. We are willing to hurt ourselves just to punish someone who breaks the rules. That's why censorship feels so good. It's not about logic. It's a biological reflex to protect the tribe from the heretic. We are hardwired to silence the outsider. So before we get to the guy who spat in someone's face to prove a point, I want you to be honest. Jump into the comments right now. Tell me about a time you heard an opinion so wild, so wrong, that you physically felt that shut up reflex kick in. Did your amygdala win, or did you hear them out? I'm genuinely curious. Go ahead, I'll wait a sec. Okay, back to history. The Founding Fathers weren't all free speech absolutists. In 1798, just 7 years after the First Amendment was written, they passed the Sedition Act, which made it illegal to criticize the president. Enter Matthew Lyon. He was a wild Irishman, a congressman who once literally spat in a Federalist's face on the House floor. Lyon wrote a letter saying President Adams had a thirst for ridiculous pomp. For that, they threw him in a dungeon, a literal freezing jail cell. But here's the narrative inversion. The Federalists thought jailing Lyon would shut him up. Instead, it triggered what psychologists call reactance. When you tell people they can't have something, they want it more. Lyon campaigned from his jail cell and won re-election in a landslide. His victory helped destroy the Federalist Party. It was the original Streisand effect. Attempting to bury the dissent just gave it a megaphone. Fast forward to 1919. We need to kill a zombie. You know the phrase, "you can't shout fire in a crowded theater"? People use it constantly to justify censorship, but guess what? It's not the law. It was a throwaway line by Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes in a case called Schenck versus United States. And the fire in that case was a pamphlet, a piece of paper that just said, "The draft is bad." Holmes compared a polite political argument to a physical riot to scare people. It was a rhetorical trick. That case has been overturned for decades. The modern standard, from a case called Brandenburg, says you can basically say anything unless you are inciting imminent lawless action, like "let's burn this building down right now." So please stop using the fire in a theater line. It's embarrassing. Now, remember those kids from the intro, the Gobetis family? They were Jehovah's Witnesses. They believed saluting the flag was idolatry, like bowing to a graven image. After the Supreme Court initially ruled against them in 1940, it was open season. Mobs burned down kingdom halls. They beat witnesses with pipes. They forced them to drink gallons of castor oil, a fascist torture tactic. It was a national hysteria, fueled by that tribal instinct we talked about. But then reality hit. We were fighting Nazis, yet we were forcing American kids to do a salute that looked exactly like the Nazis. The cognitive dissonance was too much. In 1942, Congress quietly changed the salute to the hand over heart we do today. And in 1943, the Supreme Court did something unheard of. They admitted they were wrong. Just 3 years after causing all that violence, they took a new case, West Virginia versus Barnett. Justice Jackson wrote the opinion, and it is absolute poetry. He realized that you can't force unity. Compelled unity just leads to the unanimity of the graveyard. He wrote, "If there is any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it's that no official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox." Basically, the government can't force your mind to confess a belief you don't hold. That is the core of the First Amendment. Since then, the battle has moved from flags to, well, other things. In 1971, a guy wore a jacket that said "F the draft" into a courthouse. The Supreme Court protected it, saying one man's vulgarity is another's lyric. We've had cases about bong hits for Jesus, the kid lost that one actually, and a clothing brand called FUCT. They won. The principle holds. We protect the offensive, the weird, and the vulgar because that's the buffer zone for the important stuff. Here is the final takeaway. Censorship is psychologically counterproductive. When you try to bury an idea, you make it special. You make it a forbidden fruit. And more importantly, free speech acts as a safety valve. If you don't let people shout, they eventually hit. The First Amendment isn't there to make us comfortable. It's there to stop us from killing each other over our differences. It forces us to override that tribal amygdala response and use our words instead of our clubs. So the next time you see something online that makes your blood boil and you want to ban it, delete it, or silence it, just remember that is your biology talking, not your reason. The fixed star of liberty is the right to be wrong, the right to be offensive, and the right to be different. It's messy, it's loud, and it's the only thing keeping the experiment running. If you learned something new about your brain or history today, smash that like button. It helps the algorithm know we aren't shouting fire. And seriously, drop a comment. Do you think there's any speech that should be banned, or are you with Justice Jackson on the fixed star? Let's argue about it peacefully in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the things you thought you knew. I'll see you in the next one.